So yesterday, we saw some footage of Phil Kessel. I think we actually have it, Grady, if you can pull it up. The footage of Phil Kessel skating out in Abbotsford. And he didn't look horrible, but like he did look tired. Like he looked like he was having a training camp in the middle of February. Like the guy hasn't played in months. And this is credit CTV News. This is on the news. This is on the news. CTV News. So you see Kessel, he's kind of bent over a little bit. He's catching his breath, but it's not like he is, gasping for air. He's not Ollie Olevying on the ice at the Abbotsford Center like we saw a couple of years ago. Like he's there and he's getting into game shape. And I saw it all over Twitter. People would be like, look, he's out of shape. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Like, people, give it a rest. First of all, I'm annoyed that this is even, that his skates are even public. I get it. It's information. It's great. I get it. But there's no sense. Look, the Abbotsford player's beside him, also catching his breath. Is that player out of shape? Come on, like, get a grip. It's his first skate. He's just getting his legs under him. It's not even a lock that he's going to be on the Canucks, but man, people just ripping him on Twitter for being out of shape and all this. Like, it's his first skate, people. It's his first skate. And there's a bunch of cameras there because unfortunately he got spotted at YVR. Like, I understand why there's people there. I understand why people care about this. I do. But we wouldn't even know he's here. And it bothers me. For some reason, this really bothers me that this guy's first skate is getting all this publicity and people are picking it apart like it's this huge deal. Like, it's his first skate and he's weeks away from potentially signing a contract.
Yeah, it's his first organized professional hockey practice in how many months? It's one thing to skate by yourself or, even with a couple junior players or just some random guys playing pickup, but to be dropped into a practice like that, like this is the whole reason why they just brought him in without a PTO or an ATO, is to get him up to speed, to see where his pace is at. And, this just highlights kind of the world we live in nowadays when people want to have a reactionary, inflammatory comment like, oh, look how out of shape he is. Like, no, this is, and if I hate to go on, if you played the sport or played any sport rant, you will know that it takes a bit of time to get your feet back underneath you or to at least get up to the speed of your rest of your teammates that have been practicing for months on end.
And Jeremy Lee said this: if Kessel isn't tired, then I'm concerned with the development staff. I'm concerned with the staff out in Abbotsford if Kessel's not tired.
Right.
This is pro hockey, folks.
Push
He's
him.
supposed to be in a pro hockey practice.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him ready to play professional hockey.
It's the whole point.
There's no big jump from NHL conditioning to AHL conditioning. It's pro hockey. You need to be in the same level of shape.
And I'm sorry, but the guy that put that out there was saying, oh, he looks so gassed. Like, come on, dude. Really? Like,
How many cup rings do you have?
You're just setting yourself up for trolls. And you, quite frankly, you're looking like an idiot with the way you describe that.
Yeah. Also,
yeah, go on, Harm.
No, I was also going to say, unless you're watching the entire session, you don't know how hard he's being pushed. And if you're in that situation where you are the development staff, why would you not push him to his limit? I mean, plenty of times when the Canucks come back after their off seasons and they do their first day of training camp, they're doing some extra sprints and whatnot. Guys are gasping. Guys are having trouble. I remember Connor Garland's first day of training camp with the Canucks. He was having a lot of trouble. So was Oliver Ekman-Larsson in his first year. First year, of course, where he actually played pretty well before he dropped off a cliff in his second season as a Canuck. So I'm not concerned about how Kessel looks in his first skate. It's how is he going to ramp up? And I trust the coaching staff, the development staff to make the right call, make the right decision on whether he's fit.
See where he's at in a week now, right? If it's still an issue, then yeah, sure.
And there's a difference between being, doubled over, trying to catch your breath, and laying on the ice like Ollie Levy did. Like, there's a difference between that. And Captain Canuck in the chat is saying, I just don't get why he's doing it now. He should have been ready. There's nothing like actually going to camp. And this is what we see every day at camp, or excuse me, every time it's the first day of training camp, every single year, we see guys doing what Kessel's doing. It's not a story. It's not. It's a story because people want it to be one, and they want to pick apart Phil Kessel and all this stuff. It's insane to me. Look, I'm looking at this and saying Troy Stecher puked every year at training camp, and it was endearing. Nobody's questioning if Troy Stecher was ready or not. Like, he was, guys are doubled over all the time. It's not even like a Jake Virtanen, where Jake Virtanen would show up every year and then be so out of shape that he can't do the drills and then get put into group C or the third group every single time at training camp. That's not where Kessel's at. Like, Kessel is just, he's trying to catch his breath, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine in like a week, a couple weeks, maybe. He'll be fine. And Rick Tocchet spoke about this last night. And Grady, this was on, Grady, what did you say this was on? The Chicklets cast or something?
Yeah, it was the NHL on TNT. They were doing like a Manning cast, but Spit and Chicklets style. And Talk was a guest. And we will
so a Manning cast, but way worse. Okay. Let's get to this clip.
Do you want me to fire it? Yeah, okay. One second.
Yeah, let's see it. Tocchet was speaking about this, and I just found it interesting because he talked about how how Kessel's still going to be kind of weeks away and didn't really want to commit to anything, even though, like, this is a guy he loves. Like, Tocchet loves Phil Kessel, still didn't want to commit. And that's the thing. They're not committing to anything. They're going to see how he's doing and how he progresses, but there's no reason to jump to conclusions. There's no reason to, start dissecting this skate, which it feels like now we're starting to do a little bit. I'm just saying this is nothing. This doesn't matter. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And hey, guess what? If he's not, I trust Canucks management enough to realize that he's not going to be in that game shape. Here's the clip of Tocchet last night.
We've messaged a little bit, but I think it's more for him to see where he's at. We got the skills coaches going to work with him. He's been off for 10 months, but the thing with Phil, he's a freak, right? He can do a lot of things. He's a sports freak, right? So I don't know where he's in shape. I know the one thing, he can pass the puck. And we'll see where it goes. The first phase here is the next 4 or 5 days, see where he's at physically before we even entertain anything from there.
And I want to bring up this tweet as well from our pal Justin Morissette, who tweeted about this, about the whole idea of Phil Kessel joining the Canucks. I really like this tweet, and I just wanted to read it on air rather than just because I had the same opinion, rather than just repeating what he said. I want to read what he actually tweeted out. If we have that tweet, great.
1 second. Give me a sec here.
Okay.
Do you want me to just read it out here? Because I have it pulled up, but I don't have it ready to go.
Yeah.
So Justin Morissette. Oh, man, did I lose it now? Yes, I got it. So Justin Morissette, why does this team need Phil Kessel in brackets? ? And then he goes on to say, do you people not remember 2011? A run to the Stanley Cup is a 2-month-plus war of attrition. Jeff Tambellini was a top 6 forward in Game 7 of the 2011 final. Injuries are coming. When they hit, do you want EP40 with Kessel or Linus Karlsson?
And that's the conversation that I'm starting to think about a lot more, is that Kessel is one thing, but there are other depth options that the Canucks are going to be looking at. This is just one that you can potentially get for free. I remind everybody again, the Cup-winning Vegas Golden Knights gave up a 3rd-round pick and some other player for Teddy Bluger, who played 6 games en route to their Stanley Cup final victory. Phil Kessel played 4 games. Teddy Bluger, who is an integral part of the Canucks' 3rd line, played 6 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, not a knock on Teddy Bluger, a commentary on what teams that have serious aspirations of winning the Stanley Cup, what those teams do ahead of the trade deadline.
Yeah, and that's an aspect where when we initially discussed it yesterday, and I was sort of thinking, I don't know if he'd be one of Vancouver's top 12 forwards necessarily, or I don't know if you'd find the perfect fit. Then you remember, oh yeah, we're assuming a completely healthy lineup. The Canucks have, up until the Joshua injury today, didn't have any forward injuries. And as Justin pointed out, through a long playoff run, you will probably run into some of those. And that's where Kessel could be an insurance option. That's what the Canucks are considering, have not committed to yet. They're in evaluation mode. And I think viewing it from the perspective of, hey, it's insurance rather than, oh, he's a surefire first option, plan A, top 6 forward, I think it's much better to view it as insurance. And from that perspective, it makes potential sense.
Absolutely. And he's going to be one of multiple depth options. Like, this team is going to go out and get depth ahead of their playoff run. They are not going into the playoffs with Linus Karlsson where he is right now. Like, again, not a knock on Linus Karlsson, but cup winning teams do better. Cup winning teams do Teddy Bluger and Phil Kessel sitting on their bench. And right now the Canucks don't have that kind of depth. They just don't. And look, the team knows that, and they're going to address it. And hey, we've said it so many times recently. It feels like we trust this management group to make the right decision when it comes to Kessel, when it comes to their depth options.